Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors in Winston, Chester. I'm glad you're here this morning. We got a big show lined up, but first, our weather, brought to us by Haney Tactical Center. We're looking at warm weather. This time last week, it was just downright cold. But now you can see it warmed back up, and a lot of that moisture they had predicted rain, a lot of it turned into fog and all. So anyway, high today is going to be all the way up to 75 and low 63. So it's not really cold Christmas weather like a lot of us wanted. Water temperature hanging around 60.2 degrees, so that's looking good there. The tide chart, well, let's do our river readings. Take a look at the river readings brought to us by Sandhill Seafood. Apalachicola is in pretty decent shape, not much movement on it. It's reading a 3.5, so it's getting back down there. And the Choctawhatchee has got a steady drop to it, and it's got a 5.5 reading, and both of them got a little bit of a drop to it, and don't see a lot of, well, just don't know how much rain to get up north for the Choctawhatchee, but I don't see a lot of movement there in the Apalachicola for the next 3 or 4 days. Tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn Funeral Home and Cemetery. They're located right there on 23rd Street. Today is December the 19th. Great tide today, all through the week. And next week, during Christmas week, not going to be in the tides, but most people are going to be hanging around just doing things with family and doing some outdoor stuff. But the tides next week aren't going to be that strong. But this week, if you can squeeze it in, it's going to be some good fishing, I can promise you. All right, the marine forecast will be south-southwest at about 5 to 10. Not a lot of movement there. So, but I'm going to tell y'all now, the south-southwest wind coming in with a strong tide in the afternoon. It's going to be, if you can get up into some shallow flats, and those fish are out there now. They don't hibernate. They're out there. So let's take a break and we'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. Let's look at some announcements and pictures and all of upcoming things and some what people have done recently. This first one now, National Wild Turkey Federation. They're having their convention and sports show. It's not just for turkey hunters. It's a huge sports show, and it's going to be February 14th through 18th. And what a great Valentine present for your wife, guys. I know she would appreciate that. We're really thinking about going this year. We're really considering it. I know Ken Paramore and those guys have gone and Stan and told me how much they've enjoyed it. And if I can squeeze it in my schedule, we may go up there. It's in Nashville, and it's like 3 or 4 days. Some really good outdoor stuff, and February is a great time to do that because it's so cold outside really in that time of year, and hunting season is wound up, and fishing not really strong there. So I just want to go and put it on your calendar. If you're thinking about going, you go online, check it out. It's a national one, and they do a great job with it. All right, pictures. Now you would think this would be a teenager riding on the beach and getting the truck stuck, but no, that's not a teenager. That's Dr. Jeremy Sunseri. He had a set of pictures. And Jeremy, he's been on the show. He's one of our sponsors, and I just saw that. And I just busted out laughing because anybody the first time driving into sand, especially if you didn't grow up around here or been here a little while, that sand is something else. And Jeremy didn't. He's used to that Utah pack sand, I guess, that real, that more dense sand, and he flat out got stuck. I'm not sure where it's at, but anyway, he had like a set of 3 or 4 pictures. I probably should have showed the rest of them. He ended up he had to get a tractor to pull him out, a tractor, that's correct. And I'll make sure you get that picture tomorrow. So anyway, if you're going to see Dr. Sunseri anytime soon, ask him how that beach driving is coming along. I can't wait to see him and ask him that. Anyway, in fact, my son was there last week getting a little skin cancer cut off, and I wish it had happened ahead of time. I'd let him tell him about it. But you look at that truck is buried, and and that's a big old truck, big wheels, and but you just can't drive just anywhere in the sand here. But what a great lesson, Dr. Sunseri. Thank you for sharing that with us. All right, let's get to some serious fishing. Mark Deaton, he's done this 2 weeks in a row. Okay, speckled perch or crappie, and I think he had about 21 right in there, off the river down there. Good job, Mark. Mark does a lot of fishing. This is Jerry Hall. Everybody knows Jerry Hall on the east side of town. He's hunting on his brother-in-law, Bob Thomas. Bob, one of my close dear friends, ended up moving up to Georgia when he retired. And he asked me to come up there and hunt with him, but instead Jerry went and got this big buck. Now that's supposed to be my buck, but no, Jerry Hall went and got it. But good job, Jerry. I know you probably told a few people about it, but good job, Bob. And thanks for the invitation. Save me one for next season. I promise. This is a cute picture. This is Jarrett Barnett. I had Jared and his sister in class, and with his girlfriend Megan Wilkerson. We managed to knock a couple down this morning, and they're not cool. They're waders now, and that's some of the finest duck hunting you can do. Just get some waders and wade out there, and get them coming in. So that's a classic shot right there. Okay, not to be outdone, Caitlin Rogers. She's been on the show before. She's out down on the river, and look at what she's got. Her dog retrieved them. Nice wood ducks right there. Good job, Caitlin. I know that's fun having a dog out there with you. And I love this story here. Ryan Tyus sent this in to Florida Panhandle Hunters, and I'm going to read you the story. I am one proud husband. My wife went hunting for a third time and killed her first deer. Her Muddy Girl AR-15 laid a smackdown on this nice 7-point weight, 144 pounds, 16-quarter-inch inside spread. I will not be able to keep her out of the stand now. And I have lost my favorite stand. She has claimed possession of my shooting house. Kayla Renee Tyus. Great picture, and we've really seen some ladies bring in some nice bucks this year. I mentioned last week, I talked about the scallop season. They've tentatively set it last week at FWC meeting down in South Florida. And anytime they set tentative seasons, that's pretty well, most of the time, 90-something% of the time, it's going to be the season. And I gave you the dates, but I want to show you the chart for next year's, the 2018 proposed scallop season. See, in green, let's talk from left to right now. In green is the Port St. Joe. And then look at the table down at the bottom. Gulf County, August the 17th through September the 30th. So that's really good that they've set it back. It's a shorter season, and they may make it longer as the population increases. And we're going to talk more about helping out on the scallop population. But then right next to us, down in Franklin County, all of Franklin and Wakulla and part of Taylor, a lot of folks go there. It's going to open up on a normal time, July the 1st, okay? Now, the third set of colors, the dotted yellow, a lot of y'all go down to Keaton Beach and Steinhatchee. Now, a lot of folks go to Steinhatchee. All right, that one's going to be, actually, it's going to be the third Saturday in June. Now, that's amazing right there. That's the earliest I've ever heard of it opening, the third Saturday of June. Not July 1st, but the third Saturday of June. That tells you how many scallops are down there. But now, it's going to end early on September the 10th. I mean, each one of these dates are different. All right, blue. The blue color, Crystal River, Cedar Key, a lot of folks go down there. It's a long way to go for scallops. That day will be July 10th through September 10th. And Pasco County, they only go, listen to Pasco County, I have some friends down there. That's right outside. I tell you why that's so short. All those people in Tampa go up there. That's only going to be like 9 days. So anyway, getting back to locally, to Franklin County and St. Joe, you see the situation right there, okay? Got a lot more, okay, let's show one more. This is cool. All right, this is Bobby Davison. Listen to this. I was going to be lazy today. He sent this in Sunday afternoon. I was going to be lazy today and watch football, but the wife wanted to go to Crooked Island and look for some shells. I took a rod and reel along, and look what I caught. I also caught a Keeper Black Drum. Merry Christmas, and Merry Christmas to you, Bobby. And look, that's when the wife knows best. Guys, you need to listen to your wife. If she wants to go look for shells, yes, honey, we're going, and just bring the rod and reel. That's a classic case. Caught a nice pompano. Here it is in the middle of December, and he caught that nice pompano at Crooked Island. So good job, Bobby. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. I was looking over the tide chart. I mentioned always early in the forecast, and like I say, the week of Christmas is really slow, but that Saturday before the 30th of December, there's going to be some really strong tides, so check your forecast there. I do have one more picture. I showed this, but we didn't get it up on YouTube, so here it is again. This is because it's worthy of showing twice. Bo and River Rollins, and they call that, some of them, around here buck, Howard Creek. And like I was saying, this is hunting down in the creeks, in the swamps and all. Unique kind of hunting, and nice one there, Bo and River Rollins. Okay, I do want to talk about a phenomenon that happens every year. We're approaching what we call the winter equinox, and what's amazing about it, every year I get fascinated, these days and all. The shortest day of the year is going to be Thursday, December 21st. A couple of days from now, I want to go tell you about it because you can look forward to it this weekend. You can say, honey, the days are getting longer. I need to go out in the woods. I got longer days now because here's a chart of it. We've talked about it before in this show. I've always shared this with students. On the far left there, it'll come on the 21st. Actually, it's going to be here 10:38. The actual solstice itself will be 10:38 that morning. If you want to keep up, you see though, believe it or not, we revolve around the sun. Like I pick out one of my students. I said, we don't revolve around Tommy or Sue. We revolve around the sun. But you see how it's tilted away on that far left there. It's really like a 23-degree tilt away. And actually, there won't be any. The northern hemisphere will be completely dark that day and all. There won't be any sunlight. And then of course we flip around as it starts tilting back toward it. And then go look on the far right in the summer solstice. That's why it's so hot. We tilted toward the sun. So that was always fascinating. Always fascinated me. I talked to my students about it, and they sort of had seen it, but a lot of them hadn't, when they were younger in like a science class in middle school and all, but they really hadn't spent a lot of time on it. We really talked about it until they really understood what was going on. So days are going to you, outdoorsmen, days will start getting longer on this Thursday, okay? Now, let's do an outdoor tip. I was talking to some guys the other day, and this is fascinating. We talk about, I'm always talking about gold spoons. Here's my little tray. Let me get my stuff out. You can see all these are my gold spoons, okay? You can see them a little better that way, but I have a little tray of gold spoons, and each one, some of these are similar, but you know what a gold spoon looks like, and they're very, and I have some with a little red flash on them, okay? But, and then I have some different shapes and all, okay? And then I have some similar to it. This is a dark color. I really had a darker color spoon, not really a gold spoon, but a darker color spoon, but I really had, it's not a silver, it's not a gold, it's sort of, in between the color and everything, but, and then I have the copper spoon we'll talk about, so, and I have a bunch of these in reserve. But one of the things, I was talking to a guy the other day, a buddy of mine down in Blue Water, he was talking about his wife was really catching, they started doing this, and I think this is a great tip. What they were doing is, okay, the fish bites. We'll talk about the fish bites we have here. And what they were doing, I want to just give you a demonstration. I love these. That looks like bubble gum, don't it? Just don't chew it. And what they're doing, they were just taking a little tip off, okay, just cutting a little tip off about that size right here and just putting it on the hook. Okay, and they actually went fishing out of Louisiana. But you can see that right there. You got the little tip right there. And what's good about the fish bite, it's got a cheesecloth in the middle of it, a fiber mesh, and it'll stay on a long time. And especially fishing in the same area, you get that smell around. So I'm going to start trying that some. I haven't tried it yet, but I think that's a great little tip right there. And that's the thing about when you're around outdoors, some of the first things I always ask people, have you been catching a fish? And that just starts the conversation. And most guys and girls will tell you, well, yeah, I've been doing this and doing that. And I've learned the most over the years and all, and I've shared a lot of stuff too, but this is something good to tip your gold spoon like that. And speaking of, I'm going to go see these folks too pretty soon down in St. Augustine. I've been invited to go to their factory down there, and when I get some free time, I'm not going to do it during hunting season, but I'm going to try to run down there and visit with them, the fish bite people. They're doing real well. Also, now keep in mind, December is an excellent time to head down to the city marina or down at the bridge over in East Point or wherever. You can catch squid. Squid fishing is excellent this time of year. And you get the lights out there, and you'll bring them up there. And a lot of folks eat calamari, and then a lot of guys and girls just put them in the freezer and wait for a snapper season or grouper season and have their own squid, because I forget what it is a box now, but you start buying 3 or 4 boxes of squid, it adds up. So a lot of folks have put them in the freezer. I've never put it in my freezer. I've always been afraid if the power went out, it would be smelling pretty bad if I was out of town or something. So, but a lot of people do that, and it's okay to do that. Okay. So remember, the squid bite in December is going on. Also, we'll talk about this on a regular basis. The regularly motion of those speckled trout are sort of bunching up. And then they're going to get up on those cold days, like last week on that cold spell we had. A lot of them went up in the bayous and creeks and rivers. And that's one of the things to just keep in mind, the pattern of these fish, what's going on with them. Those sheephead now, they're hanging around those pilings, and they're getting ready to be spawning in February. So try to catch them before they start spawning, and lay off of them if you can in February as much as you can. I know it's okay to catch some, but anytime you catch a fish got a lot of eggs in them, always try to release them. All right, let's take a final break, and we'll be right back. All right, welcome back. Let's look at our blue water outriggers fishing game times for today. We're looking 12:26 to 2:26, right past midnight, and today at 12:50 to 2:50, right after lunch. And that's going to correspond with some incoming tide and that south wind coming in, so it's a good time to go. Also, in tomorrow's show, we'll have Officer Travis Bassford. This is, comes on once a month, and he's coming in a little bit early because of the Christmas break next week, and he has a picture in the store to tell us. Folks, he got a nice, I'm going to go ahead and let the cat out of the bag. He got a nice buck, and he sent me the picture a couple days ago. So that's going to be a good story on how he got that big old buck. And I don't know why he wasn't working at that time, but I guess they let him have some time off. But anyway, that's going to be fun having Travis on tomorrow. Also, keep in mind, too, speaking of FWC, I ran across this. This is interesting because you know how I love quail and love the quail hunt. One of the things that a lot of the quail are planted. When we say planted, that means they're raised in cages and put out. But the wild quail are making a comeback. And it's sort of been, hush hush, and a lot of people aren't talking about it because they don't want everybody to go out there and wipe them out, which is understandable. But the FWC has come out with this bulletin. They came out and released it a couple of days ago. And if you're seeing northern bobwhite quail on your land, report sightings to help conservation efforts. Now, this is a good idea. I'm going to read you the whole article, but it tells you what they're going to do. They're not going to say, Winston Chester's got some quail, let's go over there and hunt them. What they're going to do, they're going to call me up when I report it, and they're going to or email me and tell me things that I can do to increase our population and how to take care of it, how to protect it. And that's a win-win situation for everybody. I had a picture, if you remember, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, these folks went out and hit 3 different coveys of wild quail, and we're able to get some quail out of each covey. Remember, you don't want to wipe out the covey, but just get 2 or 3 out of each covey, and before you know it, you got 9 or 10 birds, and everybody's happy, the dog's happy, the hunter's happy, everybody's happy but the quail. And the ones got away, they're happy. But anyway, quail hunting the quail population is increasing. It's not like this, but I can see just talking to people, it's getting like this. So, the big thing really not hunters, it's the predators, and especially with the eggs and all. We've talked about it before on here. So know about that quail. I got to tell you, I got my Florida Sportsman in last week, and I meant to bring it. I left it at home, but I always like to read read. And a lot of times, what's what I call canned articles, which you could be written 20 years ago, and they say the same thing. But I read the reports too, the fishing report of the Florida Panhandle, and I don't even know the guy. I used to know different people. This guy had written, and he talked about all kinds of things. From Pensacola to Panama City, the only area he covered. He didn't cover the Apalachicola area. And one of the sentences just sort of blurted out at me. One of the sentences, he was rambling, just hitting all different spots, and I know trying to get as many in the article as he could. He said, and West Bay can be epic at this time of year. And that just resonated with me. I don't want you to go out there fishing in West Bay and think it's going to be epic, because really and truly, it won't be epic. It can be good. But I don't know his definition of epic and my definition of epic, maybe two different things. So if you hit it right, West Bay is going to be good, East Bay is going to be good, Choctahatchee is going to be good, Apalachicola, all those are going to be good if you hit it right. And the term epic is much overused, so be aware of that. When you're going out, a lot of folks do some Christmas fishing, and there are going to be different ways to do it. So if you can, hit it. Make sure your timing's right as far as the tides, and it doesn't have to be necessarily incoming or outgoing, but make sure it's moving, and then get all your stuff together ahead of time. Plan your trip, and bridge fishing or actual fishing off around the pilings and all is going to be good this time of year. I see a lot of people. I think the reason I see so many people during Christmas holidays out, because obviously they have more time off, so it's going to be good. And then the best time to go. I don't know when you can go, but if you got a front coming in the winter, and you got sort of stormy weather coming or rainy weather coming, if you hit it ahead of that front, I can promise you, I've experimented all these years, and it's not necessarily taking out my boat, but I'd be watching the weather forecast, and I'd see if the front is coming in. A lot of times I would just go fish off the end of my dock, and that was epic then, because I would be catching a lot of fish right ahead of that front. And once that front hits, and right after the front, I mean, boom, it just goes down. But I think what happens, the barometric pressure, the storm coming in, it just sort of stirs things up. And I've always said that, and not only on the water, also in the woods. If you're out there, I wouldn't recommend being out there, in stormy weather. But if you see a front coming and you can get out there and get back before the front actually hits, a lot of those game, a lot of those bucks and all going to be walking around doing those kind of things. So be aware of that. And we'll have some fronts coming in during the next couple of weeks during the Christmas holidays. And speaking of which, now, if you have any, looking back over the year, we're going to show the highlights of the year 2017 between Christmas and New Year's. And I was looking at them last night. We've had some really good shows this past year. So if you had anything particular favorite, touch base with me and we'll see if we can get it on for those highlights. Also keep in mind, I wrote this down. I talk about this every year, New Year's resolutions. And if you have some New Year's resolutions, want to share them with me, you don't necessarily have to say your name, but I'll make me a list every year. And I always have, and I think I always will. I think, can always, personally, I think you can always get better and to try to improve. I don't want to be stay the same level each year, and I'm going to try different things and do different things and try to be better. I make me a list, and I save them too. I was looking the other day. Gail and I were talking about it. I remember I always say this one. I'm gonna fish more in 2017. I'm gonna go ahead and give you one. I'm gonna fish more in 2018. And but anyway, to me that's the word like goal setting. It's not that I'm trying to. And a lot of people we don't want to do resolutions but I think it just makes us a better person and better outdoorsman to have these goals and all. So if you want to share something with me, we'll do it. I had some more stuff to go over. I've run out of time. One of the things I had to go over was a list of gun safety, and I just want to go ahead and I'll talk about that later on this week. But be sure and be very, very careful with guns and tree stands. I say it all the time, and I'm very sincere that we all have to be careful, especially teach those young people be careful. And I always tell them every gun is loaded, no matter what they think is unloaded. So I got to get out of here, run out of time. So thank you all so much for watching Panhandle Outdoors. You have a great day today. Get all those Christmas presents bought. Enjoy the outdoors, and God bless.
Thanks for watching America's only daily outdoor TV show, Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester, featuring hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.